Okay, so the next stretches are static stretches. Static stretches differ from dynamic stretches because dynamic stretches include movement, while static is holding the stretch for a given amount of time, usually 15 to 30 seconds. So the first stretch we're going to do is called the turtle. I like to use a Kong. Now, other people might use a cookie. I personally like to use a Kong because it makes it easier for them to hold it. So you're going to take it and you're going to have him, I call it turtle because he's going to move his head to the side, and you're just going to hold it there. So you notice there Loki kind of gave up on it, and that's because I pushed him a little too far. So you have to be careful with static stretching, because static stretching you can actually overstretch a dog, which is why dynamic is better, because it is less likely you're going to push them farther than they should go. So he might need to only go to there. Good boy. So then you would hold that for 15 to 30 seconds, which we're going to not do just for time. And then you would do the other side. Good boy. So you can see why I like using a Kong. This Kong has pumpkin in it, which is much less calorically dense than peanut butter. Good boy. Okay. Okay, so the next exercise is called the fold in half. You're going to have him in a stand position. You can lure him with the Kong. And you're going to try to go to see how far you can fold in half. Now, you can push up against him, but remember that static stretching is dangerous because you could push the dog too far, so you don't want to be pushing him into it. And try to read any signal that he gives. So if he pulls out of it or if he wiggles, you've probably gone too far. And then you want to make sure you do it on the other side. This stretch is called the butt sniffer. Remember that it is a static stretch, so you want to be careful not to overstretch your dog. It's similar to the fold in half, except for folding in half, you go a little bit down towards their knee. So if you notice Haven is kind of walking towards it, that means that the stretch is a little bit too much for her, so I'm going to come a little bit closer to her face so that she is not overstretched. And then you hold that for 15 to 30 seconds. Okay, and then you do the other side, and try to be mindful of if one side is less flexible than the other. So if you noticed here, she can actually go all the way down to the knee. So her right side of her back, because we are stretching this side, not here, we're stretching here, is more flexible than her left side. So she has a little bit of an imbalance there. Good job. And this is called the butt sniffer. Okay, so the next stretch is called the peekaboo. Haven. You take it, you put it between their legs so that it stretches their neck. So she has to reach under. If you pull too forward, she will move her leg, which means that the stretch was too deep. So she's actually pretty inflexible here, so she's going to come all the way up here. Good girl. And gradually pull it backwards to see how far deep she can get it. And again, you hold that for 15 to 30 seconds. Good job, Haven. And I do advise holding it because otherwise some clever dogs will move it. Good job. So the next exercise is called front limb extension. It can be done in two positions. It can be done while they're sitting down or they're laying on their side. We'll try to do it first when Loki is sitting down. So sit. Good boy. So you just take his arm and you extend it forward. It might be easier to have somebody else hold the Kong while you do this. I think it's going to be easier for him to be laying. So come here, buddy. Down, down, Loki, down, dead. Good boy. So he's just going to have the Kong here. I'm going to take his arm, and I'm going to extend it forward. Good boy. So you notice he pulled back a little bit. That means I was stretching him a little bit too much. So that's a good stretch for him right here. Good boy. Good job. Held the Kong with my knee so I can put my left hand over his elbow and my right hand over his wrist, and I'm extending it forward. Good boy. Good job. And you would do that on both sides. Okay, so the opposite to extension is flexion. So instead of going forward, we're going to go back. Good boy. So you don't really need to bring this arm that way because what we are flexing is his shoulder. Good boy. And he's pretty flexible. So again, hold it for 15 to 30 seconds. Good boy. Next exercise we're going to do is shoulder rotation. So this one you're going to need both hands for. You're going to take your left hand, you're going to put it underneath the shoulder to stabilize the joint. You're going to take your right hand and you're going to put it over his shoulder and you're going to rotate it in a circular direction. Good boy. Good job. Good job. Good boy, and then you can go counterclockwise as well. Good boy. The next exercise is leg extension, which he decided to get up. Dad, Loki, Dad, hold it. Good boy. So you're going to take his leg and you're going to extend it backwards. So if you notice, he resisted me a little bit. So again, make sure you're being careful not to overextend their muscles. And you just hold it. So I have my left hand over his knee. My right hand is at his heel. And I'm just holding it for 15 to 30 seconds. Good. Okay, the next exercise is his back leg flexion. So I'm going to kick it forward. And I'm going to have my knee, my left hand at his knee and my right hand on his heel. And I'm just going to hold it for 15 to 30 seconds. So he's actually resisting me a lot, which tells me that he's a little bit inflexible with his leg flexion. Good boy. Good job, buddy. So the next exercise is hip rotation. So just like the shoulder, I'm going to put my left hand on, instead of his shoulder, I'm going to put it on his hip, and then my right hand on his knee, and I'm just going to go in circular motion. So if you noticed, he picked up the Kong. The reason he's doing that is because he's uncomfortable, so I need to be a little bit less, smaller circles. So he's a little inflexible here. Good boy. Good job. So I have my right hand, instead of on his leg here, which was putting too much pressure, I have it on his hamstrings behind his leg. And I'm rotating his hips in a bicycle type direction. Good boy. Good. Next muscle we're going to stretch is his, Loki, dead. Good boy. Is his pec. So we're going to take his arm and we're going to pull it towards us. Good boy. Just hold it. I have my right hand on his elbow and my left hand on his wrist. He can't seem to get the Kong, but he seems to be enjoying the stretch a little bit. So we'll just let him 15 to 30 seconds and just hold it. Be careful not to pull back too much. So I pulled back a little bit and you see how he tugged his arm to let me know that it was too much. Good boy. Okay, so the next exercise is to stretch his groin muscles. This is similar to the sploot, and it's for abduction and adduction of his limbs, his rear limbs. So we're going to take his leg and we're going to open them up and hold for 15 to 20 seconds while making sure that we're not pushing him too far. Good boy. Good job. He's actually not licking his Kong, so he must enjoy this. His eyes are squinty. Good boy. I'm not really even holding his leg down either. Just kind of putting it there gently. Good boy. Yeah, good. Take his wrists. Fold them into flexion and then extend them. He's resisting me a little bit. And extend them. Hold it. Most dogs don't need this stretch, but it is a feel-good stretch for all four limbs.